Alright, so we apologize for the brief hiatus we had there on the Crunchcast. Had a bunch of things going on there. Basically, Brian went to Comic-Con, and I had a few guest cancellations, plus on top of that, technical difficulties. Like one night we recorded a whole podcast, and it didn't capture one person's audio, and ridiculous things have happened. And so we took a little break, but we're back now, and hopefully we can get a few more of these in. I'd like to increase the frequency for just at least a little bit to balance out the numbers.
That's
there.
what I was thinking. Sometime this week or something.
Yeah, and I'm really working on getting this Skype thing to work. It kind of works right now. It kind of half works. We just had some technical problems with my computer and recording audio, and we'll figure it out. We'll have more shows. It'll be great. This week's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about making games, sort of the process, kind of like the A to Z process, where it all really comes from, what roles people play. For the seasoned veteran, this should be stuff you all like, yep. But, coming up, good info maybe.
Yeah, it's going to be good info for me, actually. It's going to be interesting.
Because Brian is currently developing his first game, and he's nearing the end. So he's been through the whole cycle pretty much, except for that final, there it is in the store.
Yeah, the name on the credits.
Yeah, look at that.
That's my favorite part. That's fine.
I'm on a list.
That's what I'm looking for.
I'm on a list.
Yeah.
Made it. But before we go into that, hey Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about your trip to Comic-Con? Because that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was really awesome. First of all, I forgot how much I like California in general. But yeah, we went to San Diego. We road tripped out there. Drive through Utah wasn't the best. Not horrible, but
because it was just boring and there was nothing there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that was my last time I drove through Utah. We saw one cloud, and that was the most exciting thing all the way through. There was a few points where the mountains were beautiful, but
yeah, I mean there is some great scenery.
Oh God, yeah.
There, but it just it gets old after a while. But yeah, anyways.
Still better in Kansas.
Oh, of course, yeah. There's like one tree every once in a great while, and you get lucky if you see a tree. But yeah, Comic-Con was really awesome, really awesome. I personally liked PAX more, but only because I tend to be more of a gamer than I am into comic books.
Oh, sure. And there was a whole group of us there that you were good friends with, so you could always...
Yeah, that's true, too. That probably swayed my decision a little bit as well. But yeah, Comic-Con was great. I was trying to think of some comics I could start getting into, and so I bought the first 4 Walking Dead comics.
There's a bunch of those now.
And I actually saw Robert Kirkman. My buddy got a picture with Robert Kirkman. He's the writer of the Walking Dead comics.
Oh, right on.
And let's see, what else was there? A whole bunch of awesome stuff. I bought the Scott Pilgrim books, which I love. I'm on the 6th one now. Easy read. Very fun for someone my age. I definitely recommend it.
If you don't know what Scott Pilgrim's about yet, I don't know where you've been.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember what other I got a couple other comics, but
I used to be big into comics. I was so into comics. I had boxes of them, but I used to work at a comic book store.
Really? Oh.
I worked. Here's how nerdy I am. I worked at a comic book store on Saturdays judging Magic the Gathering tournaments.
That's pretty awesome.
Just running and judging. Pretty silliness.
I bought a Superwoman shirt, I guess you'd say, for a girl.
Oh, Superwoman, as in the character Superwoman. The way you said it first, like a Superwoman shirt. What, you mean like a really pink shirt with kittens and flowers?
No, it just had the logo on it. But I originally got her one with a cape, it had a Velcro cape on it. But I was like, maybe she won't like this, so I returned that one. And since it was more expensive than the one that I finally got her, I got a wristband too. So I was thinking like I could start playing Dungeons and Dragons. I've never played Dungeons and Dragons.
Because you have a wristband.
Because I have a wristband.
Play D&D.
I could be like, I'll attack.
Oh, like that kind of wristband.
Yeah. It was a sweatband. I should have pointed that out.
At first, you said wristband. The first thing I thought was a Lance Armstrong bracelet.
Yeah.
Then you're like, I could play D&D. I said, well, you mean like one of those spiky ones like I got?
Oh, yeah.
For going to the heavy rock shows?
No, I don't know.
So you can get into D&D now because of a sweatband?
Yeah. It's a Star Wars sweatband. I don't know why. But
Star Wars.
I just was like,
Does it just say Star Wars on it?
yeah,
Like the
that's
logo?
literally it.
That's funny. It's not even like most guys who are like a nerd. They get something because it's nerdy.
Yeah.
Like you get Star Wars something, it would be the logo for the Rebels or the logo for the Empire, like something like that. Something that if you didn't know what Star Wars was, you wouldn't know what that meant.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas the one that just says Star Wars.
Yeah, it was kind of
Nice.
awkward because I was returning a shirt and I was like, whatever, just give me that one because they don't do cash refunds. So.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I could understand
Yeah.
getting something silly
Yeah.
in that kind of situation.
Then I went to the beach. I put on sunscreen and I still got really sunburnt, but like, it was
Yeah.
amazing because like the next day it turned into a tan immediately.
So lucky.
So I'm pretty
Brian
happy
and
with
his
that.
good skin.
Yeah. Oh, it's all about diet, by the way.
It is.
I heard that from one of my friends. I think his name's Chris.
It was me.
Yeah, it was Chris.
There was some article I read about how well your skin is just made up of the food you eat.
That makes sense.
And-
You are what you eat.
well,
So.
Yeah, it's constantly being replaced, but it's the one thing that is replaced out into the world more. Like you lose so much skin and it grows back really fast. You
Yeah, that's all dust is. Dust is just dead skin cells.
dust in the wind. Anyway. So
So,
yeah, I
yeah.
saw you posted a bunch of pictures on Facebook.
Oh yeah, yeah. I went to the zoo too, and that's pretty much it. I wanted to go see one of those carriers, those aircraft carriers. I wanted to see one of those while I was down there, but I didn't get the chance.
Oh,
So
bigger than hell.
yeah, bigger than hell.
That's one thing cool about like seeing cruise ships and things like that, or even going on one. It's like, God, boat is so big. Why is a boat this big? You're on a cruise ship and you're walking around. You're like, God, this is the biggest boat ever. And that pulls up to some port next to another cruise ship that's 2 to 5 times its size. You're like, what happened?
Yeah, it used to boggle my mind when I was little. I was like, how does that float? I don't understand how that
It's
floats.
amazing,
But it's just
huge boats.
it's just the future. That's all it is.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was pretty much my trip to Comic-Con. There, all summed up into one.
Right on.
What have you been up to recently?
Working.
Yeah, I guess I should probably start doing that soon.
Yeah. No, it was. Our schedule's really clean and straightforward now because we're shooting towards that final stretch of the project.
Yeah.
So a lot of the schedules, it's a bit more. We know what all we have to do. Instead of when you start, you're just like, what do we need? Well, we need this and this, and then just start making it.
Mm-hmm.
We're now at that point where it's just refining what's done and saying we need this for the game to be done, like little assets for different things.
Yeah, very much.
So it's
so.
like
Yeah.
easy to go in and stay focused on a clean list of what you need to do. And for me lately, it's been a whole lot of particles. I'm not really a particle guy. I can do them and I've done them before, but it's really at that point now where it's just optimizing everything that's there, making sure it all runs good.
I enjoy making the flip cards for the particles, and we'll get into that later. Oh, I also went skydiving recently too. I don't know if I've
You're a
mentioned that
wild man.
on the last one.
Yeah, he goes to Comic-Con, he goes to the beach, he gets sunburned into a perfect tan. He goes skydiving, and you know what else he did? He did a one-arm chin-up with both arms.
Oh yeah.
Brian is coming together.
And
over here,
not
folks.
a one-armed chin-up with both arms at the same time.
Not like
'cause
one of
that'd be a
these
two.
or anything. His was literally jumps up with one hand, grabs it, and all the way till it's like you see him he's got a video. I don't know if you've uploaded it yet.
No, I'm.
We've got a
I'm
couple
still
videos,
nervous.
but Brian just wants to clean it up. He wants to clean it up and make it look nice because he does. It's a pretty good video. It looks good, but people get whiny about form and stuff. And
Yeah.
you want it to be spot on, like clean.
I'm getting up to the 30 range now.
It's
with regular
both arms.
regular
Yeah,
pull-ups.
dude, Brian's a beast.
So yeah, I'm happy about that.
A beast from the east.
But I also do it every day. So yeah, that's pretty much been what our schedule has been recently.
Oh, yeah.
What's been going on? So,
Oh, and God, since I've been riding that bike, I know I've talked about this before. It was like mid-June I bought that bike. I've literally ridden my bike to work every day. I haven't driven my car since I got the bike.
Very
except
nice.
for one day, because it was just a pouring, raining day.
and even if he did, he drives a Prius. So
Yeah.
he's still helping the
You know,
environment.
I'm helping the environment. Those batteries, you kill me? No, I got it for gas because it's cheap.
Yeah. Speaking of bike riding, Toby's looking really good lately.
Oh yeah,
He
one of our
quit-
programmers quit smoking and just started bike riding everywhere.
I'm very proud
And
of him.
he's looking a lot. A little bit more spry.
Yeah, yeah.
More chipper.
It's more life in him now. It looks
A little
like
more youth. But yeah, it's been working great for me, man. I don't know exactly. I don't have a scale. I don't. Weight doesn't really matter. And we've talked about all this stuff before, and I know we're just kind of regressing on that, it seems. But the number of your weight doesn't necessarily matter. It's kind of arbitrary. There's many different factors that attribute to your weight. Like, oh, I'm 6'4", but you're 5'3". If you weigh 200 pounds and I weigh 200 pounds, I weigh 200 pounds, I'm skinny. Somebody's 5'3", weighs, so the weight, the number doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
There's, like I said, there's so many factors. What really matters is the way you feel and the mirror. If you're going for like the way you look or like bodybuilding. Now, if it's not that, it's something more athletic, like you're doing a sport, obviously that doesn't matter. But if you're an athlete doing sports, the mirror is the least of your worries. But anyway, point is, I don't even know what I weigh. I don't know how much I lost. I know I must have lost a grip of weight because my waistline went from like 36 to it's 32 and a half as of this morning when I checked. So I've got this belt that I wear, and the belt, the little line used to come to here, and I've got it all the way over to the second loop now. It's just pulled. It's ridiculous.
Nice. Very nice.
All my pants just super loose on me.
If you're trying to lose weight, that's the way it should be measured. It shouldn't be measured with a scale, like you were saying.
Yeah,
so.
well, I measure, like I said, I measure just based on actual measurements, like a waistline.
Yeah.
You get one of those, you can get them anywhere, those little cloth measuring tapes.
Yeah, everyone knows what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Where the guy goes up the seam of your leg and grabs your balls.
That action.
Action.
Yeah. Waist, chest, thigh, bi. Oh, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, let's get...
Enough of that business. Let's move on into the actual game development talk.
I wouldn't even really know where to start. That was a year ago when I started, or way over a year ago.
Yeah, well, Brian's been a part of the process. You've got your own insight, especially in your own department.
Mm-hmm.
But really, the way games start is this seems like it's going to be really obvious. You have to figure out what you want to do.
Yes.
Now, if you're just getting into game modding, like one of the best steps to do here is just to not think about exactly what you want to do. Just kind of start tinkering around. But again, if you're, like I said, a professional developer, you know what you do. You have a skill, and you can plan around that skill. If you're more of a hobbyist, if you're more upcoming, it's really good to just get a few tools and tinker around and see what you do well in that. See what you like doing in that. And more importantly, see what kind of results you can get out of that. Because a lot of game development, there's actually a Cracked article on this about major gameplay features in major games that happen because of a bug. One of them was about there was an accident when one of the guys was moving the vertexes on Lara Croft's breasts in Tomb Raider, and he was adjusting them. But back then, the amount of distance that verts could move, it was based on the animation system. Sometimes verts of a mesh could only be moved into these larger grid points in the 3D space. Mm-hmm. But that's old stuff, like Quake 1 action.
Okay.
However, I don't know exactly what it was, but what happened was there was a bug where it slipped up and the breasts came out like big, and everybody liked it.
Yeah.
And so she's an iconic character now because of that. There was a bug in GTA 3 when they were developing it, I guess, that the police cars were supposed to properly pull you over like a police car.
Oh, yeah.
But for some reason, when the AI of the police car saw you here, instead of going to you and stopping, it would drive through your car, which led to I'm sure if anybody's played GTA 3 and plus, it's there's cars just crashing into each other, and it's exciting and it's awesome.
Because you eventually get a little bored with the story mode, so you want to just
you say, how many stars can I get?
Yeah.
I got 5 stars for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Beat that. You playing with it. That's how you play that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, the point of that is it's just interesting to think that a major gameplay feature that made games iconic and popular are just based off little like things that happen
little
in development.
accidents.
Yeah. So it kind of goes along the lines of, we'll get into this, but the design doc. If you write a design doc beforehand, and that's great. But what you find and when you're working on a game is just what's fun.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, this was fun, or like there's a weird thing that happens and it's awesome. Like I know when that physics stuff first came along, the first thing anybody did is they set up a level with a bunch of cylinders like this, and they would put a body up here, and you'd like Plinko on The Price is Right, falling down stupid things. And now there's even games that are like that one, like the push the man down the stairs game and stuff like
yeah,
that.
there's a whole bunch
there's
of
so many
ridiculous
little flash games.
Yeah, it's easy to make those on like an iPhone, I'm sure. So there's a whole bunch of them out
Yeah,
there.
it's pretty much just a physics demo. No big deal. But yeah, what that means is what you just tinker around with and find when you're just learning and figuring out what you like. And eventually you'll find a spot. It doesn't have to be anything particular. You don't have to be a character artist. You don't have to be an environment artist. You don't have to make particles. You don't have to be a programmer. You can really be all of that when you're making your own game, because you're probably going to be. If you're making your own game, who's going to help you? Nobody. It's just going to be you until your game is awesome, and then everybody wants a piece of it to kiss your ass. But at that point, you're awesome, so you're like, wait a minute, I don't need these people.
Yeah, exactly.
We already got it under control. Get out. Yeah. So part of finding your place.
Mm-hmm.
Finding your place, and then finding out crazy things you like. Figure out what you like to do.
Plus, if you're going to be doing something as cool as working on games, you might as well be doing something that you like doing. So yeah, figure out what it is that you.
Yeah, you don't jump in it and say I'm gonna make a MMO car racing game. You just don't jump in to a tool and just you don't. Anybody that just jumps in head first and like I'm gonna make this game. I'm gonna find a program to produce it in. Some kind of game engine, and I'm going to make it, and it's going to be this. Usually if it's somebody that's doing that, none of that is going to happen.
Yeah.
They'll be lucky if they get it downloaded. They'll be lucky if they get a piece of software installed to help them make the game. But that's the difference between a hobbyist and, a hobbyist is just somebody who I want a hobby. I want to play around. I want to download UDK and tinker.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, so like I said, you want to make a game, there's tons of resources out there now. It's too easy now, almost. Not too easy to make the game, too easy to get started.
Yeah.
There's so many folks out there. You'll see a whole website.
Chris is jealous because he had to work hard as a kid.
I had to work hard. No, but the whole thing, you'll see a guy just show up, first post, on some game engine for like the UDK. Take that for example. UDK is the Unreal Development Kit, is an engine that you can download and make a game in, and it's free to just download and work in. So that's perfect, and it's like top level technology.
And their first posts are like usually something like big and broad.
Oh
like,
God!
How do I make games?
Well, there's that. There's all those people.
Yeah.
That's a lot of that. Hey, I just downloaded a UDK. Can I make an MMO? The worst thing about forums is when people put this is the most vague topic. It's like, I need help. I'm not even going to click on that. Usually when someone actually has a question, it'll be something like, mutate these spawning bots in death, like something specifically saying what they're looking material, instance,
straight to the point,
something
in the topic.
Well, it's not. It helps everybody. Yeah. Because if you know something about that topic, you go, oh, I know about this.
Yeah, it's just good organization.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're just clicking. When it's a vague title, you're just clicking in it for a laugh. You're going into it. I'm just whoever. F this guy. Who does he think he is? But anyway, no. You see a lot of these people. They started off. They go. It's their first post on the forum. They just registered. They just got the tool set downloaded. They had their big idea for a game, so they register a .com website. They've got a Twitter account for it. They've got a YouTube channel. They've got a Facebook page for it. Everything, all the social media is done, everything. And then you see their first post and you read it, and all it is words. And you go to their video, there's nothing.
Yeah.
There might be like the checker box default texture on a box room and of a T-pose guy, and a video of this guy, of somebody like PRZing, pan, rotate, zoom, around this thing while talking for 10 minutes. No, by talking for less than 10 minutes, because that's the limit to your videos when you get on YouTube, when you just sign up on YouTube.
Yeah. So,
Whew.
so the first,
I need
I'm
that sweat,
guessing,
man.
yeah, that's Star Wars. Yeah, I'm guessing the first step to making any video game, it has to be some sort of organizational thing. So you were mentioning documentation. And
Yeah, well, a design doc. Okay, say you're past that point. You've figured out a few things. You know how to actually build things, get something working.
Yeah.
And you've got a few types of gameplay. I figured out. Okay, I can make this type of art look pretty good. And I can set up these kinds of puzzles, and I know how to put in a gun and make the guy shoot or whatever it is you figured out. A lot of it now, once you've figured out a few of these things, you start designing around this idea.
Yeah.
Now again, if you've got the skills already, you say, this is what I want to do. And it's super important to figure out your scope early on. And by scope, I don't mean mouthwash. Scope is, okay, here's the skills I have access to, whether that's just you as an individual or the group of individuals that is making this project. And here's the amount of time that we want to be doing this. If you want to be working for 5 years, go big.
Mm-hmm.
But
keep it realistic, basically.
The idea here is if you can't model and animate characters and implement them into the game engine, and you don't have somebody that can do that, you probably want to design around the fact that you're not going to have a whole bunch of characters running around on the screen.
Yeah, exactly. Do some other sort of.
It's easy to get away from that. I mean, that Frictional Games, the company that made the Penumbra series and Amnesia, which has made tons of money for them.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they have a dedicated character artist, because there's not a character in any of those games.
It's just all awesome.
There's
audio pretty much.
It's really good audio and writing and game. I mean, there's characters in the sense, like you'll see dead bodies, and there's like at the end you see a guy, and like I said, there's a few situations where there's a character that's there, but there's never like people walking around and talking to you and saying hello and cinematics. Like it's not like Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Obviously, a game like Mass Effect has this massive budget, super talent behind it, excellent people. So that's their scope.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reality for them.
Yes, very much so. So you basically, as far as I understand documentation, it's just literally design documentation, to be specific. It's just literally a whole bunch of words, possibly screenshots, sketches, whatever can help describe whatever it is that you want to do within, like Chris mentioned, the scope of what you're available to do. And the design is always more ambitious than what is most likely going to be possible.
Usually an initial design doc is more ambitious, and then the development process is the realization of what your design document actually has to be. And a lot of that ambition is pushed forward to the sequel, if you get it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's kind of an idea that works pretty good. But one way to describe a design like a proper design document, it's a lot like do games even come with booklets anymore? Yeah, I think they do. Games used to come with these booklets. You could read them
on paper.
Yeah, on paper. Printed them up. It was in the box. No, but if you get a games booklet, which is the basic description of everything, and you also get a game strategy guide, which is a full explanation with like maps of everything.
It's all the secrets are spoiled for you.
Yeah,
right there.
That's kind of like what a design document should be, except it won't have any screenshots.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Because with the game booklet, you've got the basics, like you've got the controls, all the technical information that has to be there. And then the booklet has all the, here's everything that happens in the game. Now, clearly, it's very, very difficult to accurately get those two things. Obviously, the booklet and the guide are very different than the original design document.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, some things just don't work out, and other things magically happen, like the bugs that make
by
games.
accident. Sometimes, most of the time, by accident. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, there's been I don't know. In Nexus, we've certainly had a few mutators and things on account of something being silly.
Yeah, mainly just CVARs, setting CVARs.
Or like where you do something and you're like, huh, look at this. This is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And
Because when you have to think of 100 of them, you start to get...
Well, yeah, after a while, it's...
Yeah.
But like that's what I was saying about the idea of things that the unexpected things in games, like like the bugs that made cool games fun, things you weren't prepared for to happen, and all of a sudden it happens, and it's like, oh, this is really entertaining.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. You never know. You could have never put that in a design doc, but a lot of times that stuff is a lot more fun to play than your doc.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know what the next step would be after the design doc.
Well, there was one thing I'm not exactly sure if we skipped it, but it kind of needs to be getting there as far as like for people that want to do hobbying and mods and stuff like that, indie dev stuff. One thing that's really important about picking the game engine you want to work in. Now, if you're a programmer and you write your own engine, that's fine, but for people that like say, oh, I need a 3D engine to make a game, whatever, there's a lot of games out there that you can modify, and there's a lot of game engines out there to use. There's free ones, there's some you got to buy. Google it, there's a bunch of them, or go to moddb.com or indiedb.com. It has lists and lists, huge list of all these different games, all these different engines people are using, and you can search by the engine they're using too. So, like I said, if you want info on engines, it's pretty easy to find. The point is, why aren't we talking about engines? Because if you said, I want to make an RPG game, well, modifying Oblivion would be a great place to start.
Yeah, that's actually...
Modifying an existing RPG. If you want to make a game like Diablo, you can mod Diablo 2. Nice. Torchlight comes with an editor.
Oh, really? That's pretty cool.
StarCraft 2 comes with this editor. People have made all kinds of crazy games with StarCraft 2. Like things that what people weren't expecting were instantly coming out, because apparently it's a pretty strong engine.
It looks like it. It's beautiful.
And if you said, oh, I just want to make an RTS, then boy,
what's a better
look,
engine to have?
UDK is awesome, and you can make an RTS, but you have to program every single little function about it. If you're starting with a base engine that is an RTS, then it's probably a good place to start there. Whereas
Definitely.
like Unreal is built on an FPS shooter, so if you want to do one of those, then by all means. I'm not saying don't use any specific reason, or don't use an engine just because. However, it can help get you a starting point
for whatever,
several steps ahead of the other engine.
Yeah, for specific genres and stuff. So, yeah, engine is definitely important.
So yeah, well, after you do a design doc, you go into pre-production usually.
Mm-hmm.
Pre-production, oh buddy. If the longer this is, and the more you can really sink into it and think about it, this can be really, really useful. The idea behind pre-production is just figuring everything out. This is that part I was talking about earlier. Where I was talking about just going into an engine and kind of figuring things out. That's kind of what pre-production can be.
Yeah.
You're figuring out art style. You're laying down some foundation work for gameplay. Pre-production is it's all that starting phase where you're not really strictly tied in to a schedule. You're just basically trying to figure everything out.
In my opinion, it's pretty much the most important. It's sort of like breakfast in the morning, in my opinion. Because
it's one of the most fun points too, because you're just
kind of throwing ideas out there, right?
Yeah, it's like it's the old West. You're cowboys. You're just being wild and throwing things down and be like, how does this work? How does this work? How does this work? Before things start getting strict and you get a schedule of all those things that work.
I feel like one of the most important parts about pre-production is preparing yourself for all of the possible things that could possibly go wrong.
Hopefully.
So, yeah, I mean, that just seems...
Ideally, you can get your pipeline down. You can get everything. You can figure out where you need optimizations early on. You can start thinking about that stuff. Now, that's not always the case. We're talking about everything's working out perfect.
Yeah.
We got all this time, this, that, and the other. But yeah, pre-production, just laying down some foundation for every aspect of the game development process. And really, the next step after that is you're going right into the alpha. Now that there could be a pretty big gap in time after the pre-production into the actual alpha. Now you're developing. You start developing the alpha, which can mean basically what alpha can mean. There's different places will kind of have a different take on it, but it's a playable version of the game. Yeah, with the basics. The basic gameplay is there.
Okay.
Like maybe it's one level, and a few of the ideas are in.
Nice. It's kind of sad. I didn't even like when I first started at Elphonic, I didn't even know like what alpha and beta were.
Sure. No. Well, dude, first job.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to? What, some magic fairies tells you?
Yeah. So it was nice finally learning that, and I'm gonna be picking up a whole bunch of information on this. So
Maybe.
oh, definitely.
Dude, be sure to listen to it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's see a little bit. Think about it a little bit more on alpha. Well, an alpha doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to look like anything.
Yeah.
It could just be all blocked out artistically. However, you've got, if let's just say it's some kind of 3D game where it's a character moving around, you would have at least some sort of visualization, like a placeholder, or possibly even, you've gotten through pre-pro, maybe you got an early version of the character done.
Yeah.
So you've got that character in there running around. Like I said, most games, you would have some sort of, whatever his gameplay is, where there's some sort of interacting with objects or shooting or what have you.
Yeah.
A lot of those basics are set up, and a lot of it might not be actual levels, but say, here's a little room where we have this encounter set up, where the character has, and then there's this monster. Like I said, this is dramatically different for a different type of game.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you've got a racing game, it would just be an example of like all the car physics and driving and how it feels, but you'd be lucky to have a level in a car that looks really nice. And
yeah.
Maybe you get something that looks really nice. Just as an example, in the game we're working on right now, Nexus, it was January of 2010. We started on that, and we started on that using a modified Quake 1 engine.
Oh, yeah.
And we built a single level in that, and there was a character for one team and a character for another team. And I forgot exactly how many guns we had for this one. I think it was 5. We got a lot of stuff in.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed when I first showed up.
It had all the basically this one level had all the pickups, all the pickup items like ammos and armor and all that kind of stuff was in. But for the most part, it was a basic first-person arena shooter, and we had that running on a PS3 at GDC in March. So and
it was at pretty good frames.
Oh yeah, it was great. It ran great.
Great
We had
frame
it. Not only was it running great, it was running so good that we had in our booth we had was it 4 or 5? I think it was 4. There was like one big screen and like 2 small ones. So I think it was 5. All these PlayStations running the game all day long and it never crashed. Then we had it running.
Nice.
One of those nights at the W at our big party we had on like I said, I think it was. I can't remember. No, it was 4v4, I think,
Nice.
at that party, and it was all running and everything was great. And this is 3 months, and this was our example of our alpha, and I'll say we were really blessed that we had it running and running that well. I mean, like I said, we were very blessed because I've been at studios where you can't even play the game all the way up to the very, very end. Like, oh man, we're gonna ship in a week.
Oh man.
not that bad, but I'm talking about like things that like you get excited about playing the game because you never have.
Yeah.
Like I've never even seen this. What happens here?
Yeah. That would be.
But like I said, we have been very, very blessed with playable product all
Yes.
the way through. And I was lucky the same way beforehand with Warhammer. When I joined there, it was years before ship, and when I got there, I could log on. They gave me my little account, and I logged on, I'm on the server, and I could run around. And at that point in the game, obviously it was just an internal server for an MMO, so you would sparsely run into somebody just testing something maybe. But as far as it was a lot of the start areas and stuff were there, and you could play just an RPG for a long, long time. There was a whole lot of game there, and that was awesome for me because, like I said,
I think that would be really awesome.
when you get like game development, it's a lot of fun because you get to work on games because you get to play your game. And if you are at a studio where your game is just busted all the time and you can never play it, it's really demoralizing and it really hurts. Like, people don't get passionate about their work when they can't actually get in there and enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if they can, the quality that you're able to achieve out of that is much higher.
Of course.
Because they're not making editor art.
That's why
they're making game art.
That's why food with love put into it tastes better.
Food with love, but
yeah.
What's the ingredient in this? Well, I guess you could say the secret ingredient is salt.
No, I think that would be awesome to be able to play an awesome MMO like Warhammer and be the only person
in
this giant MMO.
You know what's fun about development
cool.
is all the like CVARs, console commands, developer cheats.
Yeah.
That's what they call it, where you can just jump into a game and do anything. Like, I remember going into that game, and this is like very early development, and it's like walk up to a keep, select the door / kill the door, walk up to a big huge boss / kill him.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
It's silly.
Yeah.
And like putting in coordinates to just jump somewhere, or like setting fly mode and just flying over to somewhere and doing something silly.
I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I really love Minecraft.
Oh yeah.
Is because we still have control over it because it's only in beta right now still, but
yeah, you do. Well, that's the kind of game that'll always have an openness to it, though.
Yeah.
It's not a very strict game. Although, who knows? I mean, well, what it'll end up being is particular servers.
Yeah.
Servers are able to put in different mods or set up different things to make it strict like that.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of Minecraft. It's very open. So anyway, I pretty much got an idea of the alpha there, but the beta, which is generally considered the next step. What is a beta of a game? Well, a beta of a game usually means the game is all there. Like, everything is there, every level is there, every piece of art is there, all the gameplay is there. However, it's just not been play tested enough to get the bugs out.
Yeah.
And so, well, yeah, as you're working on a game, you don't just forget about bugs. I'm not doing that bug. You try to fix them as you go. But the idea behind beta, and the longer you have a beta, the better a game can be because you can fix these bugs.
Yes.
I'm sure if you're just a gamer or a hobbyist, you've heard of open beta before. So most people are very, like I said, if you play games, you're familiar with the concept of beta. You know, okay, I'm playing a game and it's not done, and they're telling me it's not done, but I'm getting the opportunity to play it because they're cool or whatever.
Yeah. You
got a chance. And boy, a beta, man, betas are so useful for developers.
Definitely.
You learn so much. I think Gears of War I think Gears of War 2 or something like that. Their open beta that they had was a huge success for them apparently. And the thing about a beta is it works like a demo, but it's clearly given the pass that it's a beta. So if there's something wrong or it's a bug, you're not like, oh, this game just sucks. It's got bugs. No, you're participating in the process of finding and helping the developers get these bugs out. But at the same time, yeah, it's like a demo. It's promoting the game.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's like advertisement, but it's helpful because you're getting information from.
And one huge thing about an open beta, now an open beta is usually more for a multiplayer game. So what happens there is, if you're doing an online game, any kind of multiplayer game where people log in and do it, it doesn't matter your vision, it doesn't matter all the rules, it doesn't matter all these things that you've set up for the game. What's going to happen is people are going to play it the way they want to play it.
Yeah.
They're
going to break your game.
They're going to break it, they're going to do what they don't care. there's going to be certain aspects of the game that they're going to play more than another. There's going to be there's going to be things that they do that no one
that you wouldn't even think about.
When you just throw numbers of people at a game. When you're developing a game, you have your own idea. You just do what you do. You get in your patterns. You do this, you run, you go over here, and you look at this thing and make sure it works, and you testing. You get into these patterns. You're
mainly looking at this one specific.
Yeah, you're not seeing the whole picture the same way. And just a brief aside about that is something I've told plenty of people about, and I've ran into it all my life, is what I call developer difficulty, where you're the guy who's been working on the game for the past 2 years, and you don't know your game is impossibly hard because of that.
Yeah.
The difficulty is developer difficulty, where it's like, well, yeah, obviously, you know what's gonna happen in every situation, so people can make it too difficult. I remember working on a game where a guy had set up this level, and I was the guy that I had to design all the single player layouts for these. And this guy set this level up, and the monster placement was mostly up to the designer, because they had a better grasp of where to put things. And this guy was putting dudes with sniper rifles right behind a door that would instantly open, he was already pointed at you. Or like guys of like silly things. I see it all the time, just silly things. It's like, well, yeah, you know it's there, and you knew what was coming, so you knew what to prepare for, but what the hell? And and I went to this guy. I went to his desk, and I'm like, your level is really difficult. I mean, have you played through it? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, you've beat it. You've played through it and beat it. And he's like, yeah. No, it was easy, no problem. I'm like, so I said, all right, could you just load it up for me and beat it? Because I found it really hard. He's like, yeah, no, sure, no problem. And the first dude to jump out killed him.
Nice.
I'm like, you can't even play your own level, man.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, there's a balance. There's a balance there that's required, and it's very difficult to achieve that balance.
Difficulty is very difficult.
Without outside input.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You don't want to make your game too easy, because then people just blow through it, and you don't want to make your game too difficult.
And this takes us all back to the beauty of the open beta.
Yeah,
because not only is it it's the actual gamers that will actually want to play your game, playing it, and giving you the feedback that you need to hear. And not only that, is like I said, the thing about multiplayer, they're playing it the way they want to play.
Mm-hmm.
So all that stuff culminates into a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yes, they're just thrown in this brand new environment, and they're gonna do whatever the hell they want in that new environment.
That nude environment.
Did I say nude?
No, but it sounds funny. But yeah, so the beta anyway. What you're doing here is, as a developer, not just the gamer that's playing it. This is basically your big final polish phase, where if you're an artist, it's cleaning up art, optimizing things, getting all the code cleaned out, getting all the crashes out, getting everything running smooth and efficiently, getting those frame rate numbers up.
Yeah.
Getting those draw counts down.
Yeah.
All that hard stuff, and you gotta be really careful that beta isn't rushed, because as stated, this is when you're really figuring out what's right and what's wrong with the game. If you can, in today's day and age, you can patch games. You can always say, "Oh, I can just patch it."
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
But doesn't that have to go through certification as well?
Yes, but that's the thing about actual professional game development. Okay, look, if you're just hobbying, patch to the night's away. Be in a beta for years. Go for it. But if you're releasing like a box title on the PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, if this thing's rushed, that's just death.
Yeah.
If it's rushed out, people are like, unless it just happens to be just a good game. Like you could have a really good game get rushed out, and people will see through it, and the sequel will be huge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, where your original vision might be too ambitious and push to the sequel. There are games that come out that aren't as polished as they should be, but they're just good games, and those do well. But if your game isn't super great, or if it's exceptionally buggy, then it's done. It's death. That's it.
Yep.
As for can I just patch it? Yeah, it's a lot more difficult. You can't just say, I'm going to update it. Yeah, you're seeing updates for big games from big, huge companies backed by the top publishers. Like, oh, Microsoft published this title, so I'm getting a lot of updates. Well, yeah, that's because they own it, and they can update it when they see fit. If you're a smaller developer, or if you're not the biggest name in the world, patches don't come cheap.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to pay for that stuff, and it's you. It's coming out of your pocket.
Yep. And it's also annoying to the player as well to have to download patches and go through
Steam
all that.
does something really nice. When I load up Steam, if there's a patch for any one of the games, like a Portal patch or whatever, it's automatic. It starts doing it as soon as I go into Steam.
God, I love Steam.
Whereas, you know what's annoying to me is the PlayStation 3. I have seen more patching like the firmware or whatever than patching the game. There's people sitting there waiting on a PS3 than I've actually seen people playing a PS3.
Huh. I believe it. Yeah.
That's some craziness.
It seems like PS3 has been getting a lot of that lately, and even like recently with this new Sony thing getting hacked.
Hacking?
I don't even know what's going on with that.
Dude, it's real easy.
I was just like,
dude, it is real easy to throw the PS3 under the bus these days.
I don't want to. I mean,
I know it's cool. I like it.
loves-
It's a cool system. I like the games on it, but hey, some things are tough. Really, what they're facing is totally new technology. Like all this internet stuff with the hacking and patching of games. This isn't brand new. Basically, right now, it's been around on the PC and a few other systems before. But what's really happening with the internet on consoles is totally brand new. So all the problems they're facing are like, well, yeah, this is going to be caveman stuff in a few years.
Yeah, and I think it should have been. I think it was somewhat expected. I mean, because we finally reached that stage where a console is actually available, or it actually stays alive for a long period of time. Like, how long has the Xbox been out? The Xbox 360 been out? It's been out a lot of years.
Was it like?
It's like the
6
lifespan
years?
is.
I've heard they're kind of shortening. Actually, I've heard some things I can't talk about, folks. I'm sorry, but anyway, new things are coming. Let's see what happens after beta. Well, after beta, like I said, you're doing what you can. You're shoving towards the final build, the last step, and that's basically when everything is done. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it. But
Game done. Shipped.
done.
Over.
But,
I'm just kidding.
but especially with games today, now if you like I said, the old times of games where you released it and it was over, or if you just release a game that's, say, just single player, like some adventure game or whatever, once you hit final, that really is pretty much it. There may be a few opportunities for patches here and there, but
And DLC.
once
DLC is always fun.
oh yeah, DLC, downloadable content, that's always a great addition, but that's something to look forward to after the final. But pretty much, once you can go to a store and see it on the shelf in a box or whatever, that's pretty much okay. Boom, that's the holy grail right there.
That's got to be the coolest feeling.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. The game we're working on now, Nexus, it's digital download. It'll be Xbox 360, I guess, PC, PSN, PlayStation Network.
Yeah.
If it's running, it is not hacked. No, but I don't know that it will have a physical box. I think we might end up with a physical box at some point, but I don't even know. I don't know how they do that. I don't know what's going on under the deal. I don't know.
And it'd be nice to have it.
It'd be cool. No,
but it's the future.
Because it's a trophy.
Yeah. Exactly.
I've got a box full of boxes in there. They're just old game boxes, and I'm like, it's trophies, what they are.
Yeah, and literally the future is just
I need to get those
one
things
hard
framed.
drive. Yeah, that would be a good idea, actually. Get all your games framed.
Well, forget about a hard drive. We were talking about Steam earlier.
Yeah.
What's so great about
Steam, I guess Steam is like an online hard drive.
Yeah. Well, what's so great about Steam is once you buy a game, there it is, boom, got it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter what computer I log on to. I can Boom, download that game, play it.
Steam is the future.
Well, that's kind of the way it goes. Well,
Yeah.
and Minecraft is like that.
Yes.
Or pretty much, I would say every MMO, I'm pretty sure, is like that, where you can just go to the website, get an installer and an account. Where I like these games where you just buy an account. Like with Minecraft, I buy an account,
Yeah.
and that means that I can just log in from whatever PC anywhere.
I liked what you were saying about you heard a speech that Notch gave or something about how it's so easy to make it so that
Piracy.
you can't pirate. Yeah.
Yeah. The idea behind piracy is if piracy is affecting you, then maybe it's not that it's affecting you in a negative way. It's just that you're making your game wrong. You're developing in an old way. You're developing in a way that people don't appreciate.
Can take
anymore.
advantage of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I mean, if you have to have an account of a game, I'm not saying an account where you pay monthly.
Yeah.
The idea of free to play is kind of a pipe dream because it works for a very few amount of games, like an MMO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to make an MMO. Oh, we're gonna make all this money. Blah blah blah. No, realistically, people only play a few MMOs. There's room for a couple of 3 MMOs.
Yeah.
In other markets, they do pretty well. They have, one of the things about game development that if you're really, really serious about making money and doing it for a long time, you don't necessarily have to do a certain thing. You just have to find the right market.
Yeah.
The market's in Korea, the market's in China. All these Asian markets are totally different than the markets in America. The types of games they like, the way they play is totally different. Their culture is totally different. So you could, I think, wasn't it Crytek recently released that Warcry game, which is like a free-to-play game only in some Asian market.
I'm not really sure about that.
Anyway, that came out, but only in those markets because they said, oh, it'll only work there. And they're probably right.
Yeah. It's always pretty cool to figure out how they do that, like to determine the price of the game
or price or the market and stuff like
it's
that.
all statistics. It's all statistics and timing.
Yeah, there's people that's their job.
Maybe that's why I don't understand is because I didn't do very good in statistics.
Yeah, no. I'm not telling you I'm good at it either.
Yeah.
I got an idea.
I can do math fine. I don't understand it. You'd think it'd be the same thing, but it's not at all. But yeah.
Oh, that stuff's totally different. But yeah, after the like I said, you get your final is like a box on the shelf or whatever. You shipped version 1.0, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you have the opportunity to do patches based on whatever. Oh my god, funny old industry story. There was this game called Sin, made by a
S-I-N?
S-I-N,
Okay.
made by a defunct company now called Ritual. And actually, I think somebody bought them and they made like card games or something. I don't know. But they released one of the worst games ever. It's called Sin. And the game itself wasn't the worst game ever. It was the quality of the game.
Oh, okay.
The quality of the game was basically an unplayable game. And this was years ago on the PC, and they released a 600 meg patch.
Wow.
Back when Sin didn't come out that many. Like, the game wasn't. I don't even remember if the game was a gig. Like the whole game.
Like
We're talking about 600 megs years ago. We're talking about 600 meg patch on dial-ups.
Yeah.
It was this ridiculously broke game. It had so many things that were wrong with it. But I mean, I enjoyed it. I played it.
That's pretty funny.
But I couldn't enjoy it or play it until I got that 600 meg patch. It's like, oh golly, jeez. But that's how a lot of old PC games were back in the day. They would just ship it, just unplayable game, and then a month later the mega patch would drop. Because that's what I was talking about them pushing a game out too early.
Yeah.
If you push out a game too early, then why did you waste all that money on development? Because now you're not going to make any of it back.
It's that way with
spend a little extra.
anything.
Literally, it really is.
anything
But if you can spend a little more money making it right, then you'll make a lot more money in the end. Because customer service, folks.
Yep.
It's all customer service.
Yeah.
But yeah. After it ships, like I said, patch. A lot of games planned these days. We have a lovely ability to do downloadable content. People love that stuff.
And man, do they?
Man, do they?
Yeah.
Back in the old days, we called it an expansion or a sequel.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Just like an add-on that adds another level.
Yeah.
Yeah, downloadable content. People love that stuff now. It's great.
Like the whole hats thing and Team Fortress 2.
Like that's actually totally different. That's that microtransaction stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's the new gimmick.
Yeah, I guess downloadable content's technically the free stuff that has to come with. Well, maybe not necessarily has to, but that is given away with the game.
A lot of times, the downloadable content will be like a map pack.
Yeah.
Or an additional character to play as, or whatever. Just stuff that's actually new content, not just duplicated content. Whereas a lot of the microtransaction, like I said, you're buying a hat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not really adding to the game. It's just
something silly.
It's something. It's a personal pack. Something just for you.
Yeah.
Something that if I've got this, I can have this thing, and people will go like, "Oh, look at this asshole."
It's a good way to make a lot of money.
Yeah, apparently, no, it works really well.
You sell them extremely cheap, and everyone that has the game.
It works really well for a lot of people. Dude, the website Polycount had a TF2 contest a while back to make like some, whatever, like accessories, and the winners got officially became downloadable content.
Oh, nice.
And this really happened. You can check the website and the documentation on it's all there. A bunch of people that their stuff got in there within, I forgot if it was a few weeks or a few months. It was a very short amount of time. These people were getting checks in the mail for royalties.
Yeah.
That were like $50,000, like
Really?
$50,000 plus. It depended on who they were and how many people bought their thing.
That is awesome.
But the fact is, those things that they made sold so much and made so much money that after Valve and all those people got through of taking their share, those guys still got
were
$50,000.
Yeah, that is awesome.
That's ridiculous.
That is super
Just
cool.
for like a hat or whatever. And these things that they were making, like, look, they spent time on it and they made quality assets, and that's why they got in.
Yeah.
But they're very simple. Like
Yeah.
things that you could make in a day or two.
Gosh, that is awesome. That's
But
like
yeah,
that's like winning the lottery.
Oh, God, yes.
Just quit game development after that.
For them, it was like, man, that is awesome. I was so happy for those folks.
Yeah.
So what a payoff.
Yeah.
What a payoff. It's fantastic.
Jealous.
I want to make mods. I want to make games. Well, hey, what can you talk about for a minute? I got to fill up my drink real quick.
I don't know
What is your vision? What do you want in a perfect situation of Nexus, the game you're working on right now, being released? What is your perfect vision of that? As someone who's never even shipped a game.
Yeah, that's pretty easy for me because I don't ask for too much. I won't go quite as far as perfect, but I will say all I want Nexus to do is to just at least break even, because I know that if we break even, then we are definitely going to move on to Ghetto Golf, and that is a game that I really, really want to work on. I'm extremely looking forward to working on Ghetto Golf, which is sort of like an action adventure sport game, pretty much.
Like Zelda.
Yeah, it is similar to Zelda. That's a good comparison. But yeah, I would just like Nexus to break even. If I had to go perfect, I'd say, yeah, sell numerous copies.
Makes millions.
Millions, Brazilians. Yeah, and get me a little extra dough. That'd be nice. But I literally love the environment that I work in. I could not have gotten more lucky. I could not be more happy than I am right now. A great company, great environment. We have people from the office that are there all the time because it's just such a wonderful place. Yeah, and because they live there. Chris said that in the bathroom. So yeah, I would like to stay in Colorado. There's not many game developing companies out in Colorado. We're one of the few, and so yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I would just love to stay where I'm at. I'm very content right now. As for Nexus, I would like to work on some of the DLC. I'm not a level designer, but I did design one level just for fun one day for Nexus. I think it'd be pretty cool if that happened to be one of the new maps that when we release a map pack. I would like that to be one of the maps on there. I would like to possibly maybe rig my whale. I don't know if I should mention that, but I'd like to rig the killer whale and see if we could get that in there as DLC. I think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I'm just talking about personal things that I'd like for Nexus, because we all know what we want for Nexus in general. We want it to be big, we want it to be giant. But
what I would like is it to make enough money for our company to stay afloat for years to come.
Yes.
At least through the development of our next product and beyond, so that the next product has an opportunity as well. But which will be Ghetto Golf, obviously.
Yes. Yeah.
But like I said, as long as it's strong enough that the publisher has confidence, the investors have confidence, and we can continue doing what we do.
Yeah. And expand a little bit, possibly get another sub Ilphonic somewhere else, maybe in California.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, Tokyo.
That's what Kettering wants.
Yeah.
He wants to expand to Japan.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, just real quick, I wanted to say the Zelda Ghetto Golf comparison. I know a lot of people see it and they see the golfing aspect. Yeah, that's there, but literally the game is an adventure. It's an action adventure. And if you replace that golf club with a sword,
you have Zelda.
It's
there's a Triforce in the game too.
But it's the same way with like GTA. GTA has a lot of origins in Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you strip away a lot of the stuff, change the cars into Epona.
Yeah. And you don't have to
get rid of like all the modern day violence, and it's pretty much the raw gameplay. Like I said, if you stripped it down, obviously what makes GTA isn't just those raw functions. Yeah, those are great, but what makes a game is all the execution on top of that, all those features on top of it.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm not taking anything away from either of those games.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we pretty much talked our way through the whole thing.
Good general
if you're not making a game to make money, I mean, if you're just releasing it for fun, that's great. But so a lot of that whole like patching, there's not really an issue of patching. You just release a new one. It's free, no big deal. The things that you can gain from making your own game. So weird putting that together.
So many G's.
God, all these G's.
Oh, G's.
G's. G's. Really what you gain from that, I call it like money down the road. If you release a game, you can grow things like a fan base, or if you release a game and it's good or it's fun, like there's so many examples. Valve has picked up many different little games that were just modifications and turned them into huge things. Counter-Strike was a Half-Life mod. Portal was a mod, or just some games people were doing. Team Fortress was like a Quake mod, I think, originally.
Oh, wow.
And companies like, I can't even remember what they actually started with, but Splash Damage, apparently they started just by making some Quake mods or something like that.
Oh, nice.
I apologize for forgetting exactly what it was, because I totally know, but it's just one of those situations where information overload.
Yeah. What time are we at right now?
Oh, this or just an hour?
I was going to say, it feels like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we're very early in. It's good. It's good. No, what you gain is, if you make a game, there's chances that if it's good, it could get picked up. You get it published. The first 2 inbox titles that I actually ship, like I went to a store and there it is, boom. were add-ons for Quake 2.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was Extremities, which was a bunch of game mods. And in this particular case, it was a game mod for Quake 2 called Red Rover. It's downloadable for free on Planet Quake back in the days, websites that don't even exist.
Yeah.
Groups that no longer do any, like most of these people don't, I don't even know if any of these people make games anymore, but I'm sure most of them do. It'd be cool to hear from them. Hey, if you're listening and you worked on Red Rover, God, what was the name of that group? It doesn't matter. No point remembering all this stuff.
Yeah.
That was just a mod for Quake 2, and we released it, la-di-da. And down the road, id Software said, we're doing a community pack where we take all the best mods and we put them on a CD, and that way people that actually have the game but aren't so familiar with the internet community. Because again, this is Quake 2, the internet was barely there.
Yeah.
People there weren't social networking websites and really strong, besides Slipgate Central and Planet Quake, really strong aggregating information sites. If you didn't know about the whole community, you didn't know about mods.
Yeah, not everyone had a digital copy of themselves.
So they just took a nice, they used to call it shovelware, but in a good way this time. They just put a bunch of our mods on a pack, and boom, one of the first games that was out that I shipped, I was like, oh, look at this. I didn't have to try.
Yeah.
And then the next one was, it was, I signed a contract early on I didn't get paid for, but it was to be an official mod in the stores, so that's a little bit different, but it was still modifying a game.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a full engine. So there's a lot to gain by just releasing a game more than just a game that you release and sell, like a professional thing.
Yeah.
And who knows, like I said, gets picked up, everybody likes it, la-di-da.
My big thing, the one thing I'm really looking forward to when I release Nexius is being able to put something really big on my resume. And
an actual type. Well,
anyone that's as early as I am would wish the same. So
one of the things that I went for in my career early on, I had made a few PC games, and I really loved PlayStation 2 games. Like when PlayStation came out in its height, that was some of the best games you could find are on that thing. All those greatest hits.
Yes.
All those greatest hits were like 1999 when it, boom, 1999, because it was a game that did great.
Yeah. So
they re-released it cheaper. Oh man, I have this box of greatest hits. It's huge. It's a pile. Point is, I love those games. I felt like as I was growing up as a kid, I had the Atari, did the Nintendo, did all these consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Now I loved PC gaming, obviously, but to me it felt like, well, I need to do a console game. I need to. I was growing to that stage where I knew that. It's a feather in the cap of your resume to have a shipped console title. If you made a game on a specific console, then oh wow, you went through that.
Yeah.
You know some stuff. So what I did was
because it's more difficult.
There's
more difficult.
There's limitations.
Yeah.
There's very difficult limitations.
That's a better way of putting it. There's a lot of limitations.
It's more than just development.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just say, I'm going to make a game, PlayStation. Ugh. No, there's a limit to the number of slots. There's a limit to the number of shelf space in a store. And those limits are strictly controlled.
Mm-hmm.
It's you would think, okay, back on the old days of PlayStation 2, you'd say, well, this game's a lot like that game and whatever. No, they're pretty strict about how close you can be to another game. Like if you're just a little bit too similar to another game that's already been approved, it's going to come out in the same time. Nah.
Really?
Yeah. Nah, you can't. Nah. But like I said, PlayStation, I think when we were developing for the PS2, there was 200 slots per year. I might be totally mistaken here on this information. There's a certain timeline in which we were making our game. And there was some very low, it was 200 or less number of games that they were going to allow to be released on their system. And so you think, well, that sounds like a lot, but really, how many games are out there? There's a lot of freaking games. There's a limit.
There's a lot of games that, don't get me wrong, I love the PS2, but there was a lot of games on the PS2 that I was like, I don't understand how they got in some
Yeah,
sense.
there's some things that I'll tell you what. Well, I've like I said, going through what would they call it, certification.
Yeah.
Back then, play it PS2 certification, or Xbox certification, GameCube cert, all that stuff. Nintendo seal of approval. It's it's pretty strict. Like I was talking about patching earlier. You weren't gonna patch a game on the Wii.
Yeah.
Or not the Wii.
Yeah.
The GameCube.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Nobody had the internet.
Prior to the internet.
There was some sort of online stuff they did down the road for all those systems, but
I was gonna mention that earlier. You can't on a cartridge. There's no way.
Yeah, there's no. It doesn't even have a hard drive. It's a CD.
I always wondered how the save states work in those, and you said that there's like a little chargeable battery.
There's a little battery in some of them.
So you gotta. Oh, I heard this. I don't know if it's true or not.
Memory cards too, which is a different thing.
Yeah, I heard this, and I don't know if it's true or not. But like, just go plug in your old systems and plug in your old cartridges because it recharges that little battery. I don't know if it's true or not, but.
Well, way to bring it up and talk about it then.
Well, a programmer told me. So.
Oh, programmer.
Yeah. You know how smart they are. No, just to recharge that battery so it keeps your save states on your cartridges. I don't know if that's true or not, but
it's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea to do.
But yeah, I remember there was a big deal about that old NES games having a battery in the cartridge, and you had to shut it off a certain way.
Well, it blew my mind. I didn't know that.
Wait a minute. You think this cartridge has batteries? Yeah. So hold on. Wait a minute. What about this flashlight? Yeah, the flashlight has batteries too. What? Sorry, I just had this idea of a joke of somebody being mystified by anything using batteries. These microphones are plugged into a equalizer that has a 9-volt battery that's hanging out of the back.
No, I just thought it was pretty interesting. I think one reason why I was so like shocked by there's a battery in there is because I remember Sega Genesis where you actually had to like type in these 16-digit codes that were
like your passwords or
the password.
Do you remember? Did you ever play Metroid on NES?
No.
Okay, not just Metroid. Many games had this same fault. It was a very long password. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4 like lines like that, and it wasn't just numbers and letters. They had weird symbols.
Really?
It had like a whole alien language in there. It's like, oh man.
That's almost annoying.
It was.
Yeah.
But luckily there was a few like secret codes, like just, you put in the name Justin Bailey and then like zeros or something, and you'd be Samus without her suit. Something like that. Anyway, but the point I was making about that was like the old gamer development on consoles was very, very difficult because you had to go through certification. There was no such thing as patching. Your game had to work or it was cut. They were very strict back then. But I wanted to add console development to my career.
Yeah.
Like part of my resume, and I got so lucky to get in with Jalico. We made Goblin Commander. It wasn't a super great hit or anything. It's an alright game. It's okay. It's a little RTS. Different goblins, different races of goblins fighting. But you can kind of just beat the game by blitzing through it. But I think it's all about multiplayer. Even I don't even know if it has that. I haven't played it so long. But I was so excited about the fact that I had a PlayStation 2 game, and it was also ported to Xbox and I was going to say 360, Xbox
and
GameCube. So it was all three consoles, and it could have each box. It's like, it's so satisfying to be like, this is on every one of these things.
Yeah,
that is cool. Whereas you do a PC game and that's awesome, but when you have a title that's ported to everything, it's like, wow.
Yeah, we should put Nexus on the Wii, dude.
Yeah, put it on the Wii, man. But yeah, that is. But again, that's one of the values, as you said, a big hit for your resume, a big punch up for you is number one. Anybody that's out there, if you're trying to get a job, a lot of times you see these job applications where they say you must have 5 years AAA experience. Like everything that's written up in a requirement is just to scare off people that have no confidence in themselves. If you have the talent, you're going to get the job. It doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. Most of that stuff is just written in there to be like, boo, booga, 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 booga.
Yeah.
It's a boogeyman.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Now, obviously, some of it makes sense. There's some that has to be there. Like, you really have to be able to do these skills required. But I'm not. But those ones that are like, must have all this experience and skin a bear and fight, whatever. Okay. Like I said, it's mostly just for fun. But,
yeah.
However, once you've actually shipped a game, it is a huge notch.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big bonus to your resume. Not saying, okay, ship a game and go somewhere else as fast as you can, because there's another benefit to doing a bunch of games at the same place.
Yeah.
When you see somebody that's like loyal, it's not a fuck. Look, if you're a guy and you get a bunch of resumes and you're looking at these people and you get this guy and he's like 6 months, 1 year, 7 months, 8 months, 1 year, 1 year.
Yeah.
This guy, what is he, padding his resume?
Yeah.
Or is he just terrible? Which one is it? Or, and
the question's not worth answering. It's just
no. There is the one thing where the industry is very volatile.
Mm-hmm.
People get laid off a lot. People get a job and then get laid off outside of their control. Maybe it was in a short amount of time, and so they're like, "Oh, I gotta get a job quick," and they go somewhere else quick. And it's another same situation. It's a big corporate studio where something good, making a bad game, and everybody gets laid off.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you're an employer, you know the difference. If it's like major studios that haven't had layoffs, that have been comfortably sitting and creating great games for a while, it's like, okay, but references. Anyway, you got it in your resume now. You shipped a game.
Mm-hmm. You're selling yourself.
Yeah, you're selling yourself. But when an employer sees that, you've gone through that whole process, then you don't have to explain a bunch of BS to them. Mm-hmm. It's like I said, if you've never been through making a game, there's so many things that are, oh golly, especially if you don't care, it's great. But if you're passionate about what you're working on, it can be very stressful. Things can be difficult.
Yeah.
So you've been through that. You've been through all that. And that's something that they don't have to deal with you not understanding. Having to explain it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when Mythic dealt with their layoffs after Warhammer, there was a lot of guys that it was their very first job, and I was laid off, and I was like, cool. All right, I'll see you guys at the next company. Because that's really how it is. I've been around long enough that I've worked with people twice or more at different companies.
Without like recommendations. You recommending them or anything. It's just random. Kind of.
Like I said, I've known Kettering for a long time.
I guess it is a small. It's
very small.
Yeah.
I've known Kettering I knew Kettering back in the Quake modding days, and back when I was working at Mythic, he applied for a job there, and he came for an interview and hung out, and everything went great, and they actually made him an offer, but it didn't. He had a different direction. He had a different plan in his life at the time, but he had an offer, so he was going to come out and work there, and then after I got laid off there, I got hired by him at Elphonic. So like I said, things can, not only do you work with the same people a lot, things can drastically change. Like I said, he was coming in as a terrain artist.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, I don't want to say that's the bottom of the level, but at that level, he was at the bottom in the sense that it was terrain artist and there was the leads, and then leads above that.
Mm-hmm.
There was no place, obviously there was places below that, but in his position, whereas within like a year or two, he's at the top level of that. Mm-hmm. So it can dramatically change and fast.
Yeah.
It's just how it goes, man. You never know what's going to happen. Luck of the draw with these things.
That's why networking is so important.
When you got to do your best to be nice and help people out.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's a volatile industry. You don't know if somebody's been laid off a lot or if they're just terrible. Mm-hmm. And you could have a guy who's just interviewing at your place and be like, who's this guy? And there was probably a lot of people that saw him and like, who's this goofball? You know what I mean? Like people didn't. I knew him. He was a buddy of mine. No big deal. But he just is some guy coming in for an interview, and he's like, oh hey, and getting introduced to all these people.
Mhm.
He's like, oh, who's this asshole? Yeah, like I said, in a few years, he's running a place now.
Speaking of introducing people, this is way off topic, but I thought it was kind of funny. The other day, a girl said to me that she really appreciated that I remembered her name, and I was like glad that she said that she appreciated that, because
cool.
that's a quality that I've been trying to work on. I'm just trying to put that out there. If you're going to go to a game development,
it's
you're
so
gonna go
hard to remember names, man.
Yeah, it is very difficult. But if you can like work on that quality, it's definitely going to be appreciated. You don't everyone has that same excuse. Sorry, I'm bad with names. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names.
Everybody says it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Look, the truth is.
Do you truly agree with that, though? I mean.
Well, no. It's good to try to do what you can to remember names. It's very, as it goes on, it gets very difficult. The longer you do this, it gets difficult.
Yeah.
Like I've in the last year have been all over the country in the freaking 2 different countries in Europe. So the number, and just for game development shows and things. So the sheer number of people that I'm dealing with and running into, there's no way I can remember everybody.
I'm forgetting names of people from back home that I grew up with, spent years with.
Yeah, of course. Names. They're being phased out of the hard drive. The brain only has there's statistical facts on this. There's only a certain number of people you can remember.
Yeah.
And so I don't like to. It's not the word famous, but once you've got around enough you've met so many people, and when you're, like I said, when you're doing shows and you're meeting people, you're genuinely happy and nice and great, shaking hands and hanging out and partying. But the chance that you're going to remember all these people's name is extremely low.
Yeah.
Now, if you're interacting with them,
I guess
more regularly, then yes.
And I guess my point was, you don't have to memorize everyone's name, because obviously not everyone is important. Well, everyone's important.
Oh no, it's not an issue of importance. It's a matter of how much space is in your brain.
Yeah.
There's a limitation.
But I mean, if you're gonna meet like the top guy at some company, remember his name. That's
yeah.
That's some advice to some people that are kind of my age out there.
I have made an effort for people that I didn't really get to hang out with a lot or took to me so well, or whatever you want to say it. But I've made an effort to. There's certain people in my life that I remember, regularly think of their name and a picture of them, like what they look like, to help me remember them, because they're important.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I do.
Yeah. So, sorry, I got a little off topic.
No, you're gonna run into people when you're making games, and you're gonna run into the same people a lot. You gotta try to be nice to them. Some people you can't be nice to.
Yeah.
And some people that you can be nice to don't think you're being nice to them, and they think you're being rude because of however they were raised, or they're spoiled or weak or whatever, low testosterone or whatever you want to call it. Look, do some squats.
Eat some testosterone pizza. Sorry.
Nice. Nice. I like what you did there.
Yeah.
I wrote an article, I think it was in 2005, about making games, and I've kind of been using that as a guideline, just for the basic outline of what I wanted to do today in this podcast. But it seems weird to me, like this article I wrote, and like I said, I published it on my website. I think it was 2005. I could check a few timestamps on other websites that republished it, because mine's just loading up HTML. I wrote it in Notepad. There's no hard date. But it got stickied and archived over at Polycount. I saw it over on the ModDB and the IndieDB forums, stickied to the top. When I went there for the first time, like this year, I was like, oh, what's this site? What are these? I've never been to their forums. I went there and I saw my article still sticky.
Nice.
I was like, man, that's
pretty
crazy to think about that. It was just funny to read the responses at that point.
Yeah.
And then just recently, somebody made a post in the UDK forums of the got skills job section, whatever you want to call it. It's where people that are making a game or a mod or whatever you want to call it, are looking for help,
Okay.
or somebody that wants to be on a project.
Yeah, they're not necessarily willing to pay.
Yeah, either way, yeah,
They're
it specifies.
Yeah.
But somebody was on there and just blowing it hard. Like, if you want to be, I'll tell this to everybody. If you want to be entertained, if you just need a moment, I just need to take a break and laugh. I need to laugh. There's a lot of funny sites out there that you should look at first.
Yeah.
But if you want to see something different, go to that forum thread or that section. The Epic's official forums for UDKs. Let me look it up specifically so I can tell you exactly what it is. I just hit the letter E, and it takes me right to these forums. It's the got skills, looking for talent, trying to get a team together. Here's the place to post. I go here every day for laughs because it is. There are some good people on here, and there's some good mods on here, but this page, the whole front page, everything is pushed to page 2 like every day. It's so many new posts, and there's so many just delusional people. Like folks that have no idea what's going on. Like there's kids in there that are like.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Look, there's kids on there that are 13 that can do some awesome stuff, but there's also a lot of other kids on there that are 13 and they just found this forum and haven't even downloaded UDK yet or registered, but they're throwing up their whole idea.
That's cute.
Oh, yeah. There's some funny people on there. Just in forums in general, like Polycount is pretty good because there's so many professionals there. The percentage of professionals is, I think they did a poll recently where it turned out that it was like dramatically higher than people that didn't have a job yet, or did people that were just hobbyists or not even artists at all. Like it was just ridiculously proportioned out. So the bad thing about that is general discussion is all over the place. Mm-hmm. But the good thing about that is the quality of the art and stuff is very, very high.
Yeah, it really weeds out all of the people that shouldn't.
There was a guy that posted this week, and he made a post, and then he edited that post and say, "Oh, I think this site's just for professionals. I'm sorry, I'll leave." and somebody came in quickly and like, "Oh no, it's for everybody. It's cool." It's just that it's there's so many of them, and that's what makes it so good for people that want to learn. Like I've got some projects I'm working on that I haven't posted there yet. I've posted on other forums because it's not good enough.
For Polycount.
It's not good enough yet. Because
and you've been in the industry for years.
Yeah, but I've been working more on gameplay and not on art.
Yeah.
And when you're just working on gameplay, it's not worth it to post it on an art forum.
Yeah.
It's got to be ready before it goes there. But no, the point is, like I go to that section all the time for laughs, and there's so many funny things on the internet. Like there was somebody recently, I made a whole, I don't want to say what forum or anything, but he made a whole big article, and he made a blog site just for this, and a big article and all this stuff about how games are made and all this whole thing, and the thread was immediately rated down to 1 star by everyone, and everybody was replying, "You don't know what you're talking about. Are you crazy? What is this stuff? Have you even made a game?" And if you all you got to do to check anybody out is just go, if you're on a forum, just go to their profile, go to the statistics, look at their posts. And if these people are posting amazing art or relevant things, useful information, then maybe they have some
taking critiques.
And when I say look at their statistics, first look at their profile. If they have a link to their own portfolio or some website where they're actually doing things, and you can see that they're for real, you can see a real person, you can see a real face, and you can see talent. Mm-hmm. Then obviously you don't have to worry about, oh well, sure, he can say what he wants. But this was one of those guys. You check him out, and he's asking basic questions. How do I download UDK? Was his first thread. His second thread is how do I here's how to make games. Yeah. His next post is how do I edit? How do I install Photoshop?
It's great that he's asking questions for help, but these are things that you should look up on your own because. Or at least have.
The point is, you can't go from posts that are how do I do very basic stuff
Yeah.
to here's how to make games. And like I said, everything in his art, he even like I said, he had a whole website for his stuff and just his article, a whole website for his article, and it was just not even accurate information, not even close. Like I said, everybody in the thread was disagreeing, and not just disagreeing, but disagreeing and saying how it really is, how game development actually happens, and his responses to this were just totally negative. Like he was just totally negative down to like clearly like had no clue about anything.
Yeah.
Like his responses were like, well, if you don't like it, then just don't read it and whatever. I just do my own thing. Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, these people aren't attacking you. Like I said, it was just so inaccurate and so negative for everyone. I just told him he should just delete it and remove it, because it's not going to help him or anybody that reads it. But forget about the people that read it. It's hurting him really bad. It makes him look bad in front of everyone and for the long term. And it's the fact that he's committed to it. It's whatever. It's just going to hurt him. It's just holding him back. Whatever. That's fine. If he's down for it, if he's committed to it, then stick with it. But it's not accurate.
That's what I was saying about how important it is to be able to take critiques in a good way, and you need to realize that you got all of these professionals telling you to do this, and it's probably
the people that were
the right thing to
applying
do.
were like, only one thing about the Epic forums, I'll say, look, they get a lot of goofballs. I think a lot of that is because it's the same. If you keep dropping back to the Epic Games main forum, it's UDK forum is under the same forums that it's like Gears of War, Gears of War 2, Gears of War 3, Bulletstorm, UDK. You know what I mean? It's just right there with the riffraff.
Yeah.
It's right there with the people that look. It's great that they're trying it and figuring it out, but the fact that these forums are connected really brings in a lot of goofballs. But whatever. They like I said, that's why that one section is so entertaining.
Yeah.
There's a positive and there's a negative to this, folks. It's not just all black and white. But yeah, so it was exciting to me to see that this thing was just recently reposted, this article, and I was like, wow, neat.
This is your article.
Yeah, my little making games article. It's on my website, my tutorial section, but most of that stuff has been covered here in kind of an updated sense. It was surprised me to see it on all these sites and reposted in recent fashion, because I feel like it's because it's so old, even though the information is still accurate, that I should update it.
Yeah.
So this is kind of what we're doing here. But
an audio update.
Yeah, audio update.
That's pretty cool.
I think we can wrap this up pretty soon if you want, or we can just keep talking forever. But I was gonna go right into one of the things that's in this article is that after that basic discussion, it goes into some tips,
which are always good.
Just some things that aren't necessarily part of the process, but some things that can help you out as a developer. And this can eat up a whole bunch of time, and it's great. One of the things we did talk about earlier was the scope.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I wrote up in this article is like I said, competing against AAA games.
Yeah.
Like studios that have hundreds of people. Like back at Mythic on Warhammer, we had hundreds of people, and yeah, that's why they experienced layoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not an issue that's really is negative against anyone. That's not EA had layoffs, Mythic had layoffs. No, it's not a negative thing. It's understood. You can't have hundreds and hundreds of people for development, and then after development maintain paying these hundreds and hundreds of people unless there's just some ridiculous amount of money
that's just
behind
coming in
it
from some source.
You have to understand that when a company ramps up,
but even at that point they mainly just save the top guys pretty much. Yeah.
But you've heard that idea. You've heard that idea, like when a company, we're ramping up for this development. We're ramping up because we're getting close to the end and we need a few more people to make more stuff. Well, yeah, they're ramping up because normally the studio has this many people, but at this point we need this many people. So even though you're coming in and hired, it's really more of a short-term contract, and the layoffs are going to happen. And hey,
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable, and I can't tell you how they pick them. Some people go up.
You can't tell you because you can't tell us because you don't want to, or you can't tell us because
I don't know.
You can't. Yeah, exactly.
And you can't say for sure. Look, if somebody said to me right now, if we had, like, Ilphonic's really small. I've got 10, 11 guys, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Really small. It changes. But, you know, if we were 30 or 50, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, whatever reason, blah, 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 we need to go back down to 10.
Mm-hmm.
How would I pick those 10 guys?
Yeah.
If I happen to be one of the people that got to choose. But
all personality. It's just all personality.
Personality.
It doesn't matter talent, nothing. It's just all personality.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I was actually told I was laid off one time, and I was told it was literally throwing darts at a board.
Oh,
not
really?
Not that they literally had.
No,
even though I just said literally.
Yeah.
They said it was like that.
It was just random.
Because the people that were picking didn't know the people that were getting rid of. Because this was a company that had hundreds of people.
Mm-hmm.
A very large corporate company, and
That's pretty sad to just get laid off because of a roll of the dice, but
oh yeah,
it happens. So.
And it wasn't that I was laid off because my position wasn't necessary. As soon as I was out, somebody else had to relearn. They had to spend money training another guy to do my job. It's like I said, they lost money.
Yeah.
Doing that, but whatever. I mean, like I said, I've never been upset about a layoff because I've experienced and understand what it means, and I get to move on to whatever. And so far, severance has been pretty decent on the layoffs.
Nice. Well, that's always good. So.
That's the one thing about like larger companies and big contracts is they have things in place, like, oh, you got all this benefits, severance and whatnot. It can work out for you.
What were some of these other tips?
Oh God, stealing
art, stealing ideas,
stealing intellectual property.
Yeah.
If you're gonna make a mod or a game or anything for fun, if you're gonna make it professionally, you
don't remake Halo.
Do you know how many people are remaking Halo
that's why,
now?
Yeah, that's why I said it. Yeah.
As we speak, thousands of people are remaking Halo.
I was gonna say at least 10.
It's a lot more than that.
No.
Because Halo's a big title.
Yeah, it's huge.
Okay, if you're actually making a game, obviously you're not stealing because you can't be paying people and getting investments and stuff. It's illegal.
Copyrighted work to redo
copyrighted work,
yeah.
unless a publisher has assigned you to make this port or whatever.
And then even at that point, you don't have any creative input, really. I mean,
what I'm talking about is all the Halo remakes, all the Zelda remakes, anything that is if it's a game that's been made before, it's this thing called intellectual property, and somebody owns it, and what you're doing is ethically wrong. It's stealing.
Unless you're giving credit and you're just doing it for fun, and you're not getting any income from it.
Still,
yeah,
it's stealing.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if it's for fun. It doesn't matter if you're giving credit. If you're making Garfield the video game right now, you're a thief because it's not your idea. You're piggybacking off of all these fans that already exist.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't earned anything. And in most cases, you'll receive a legal cease and desist.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few, there's a very few, intellectual properties that are out there that do allow for community and fan things, and that's all fine and dandy. But still, it's to an original idea, it's down here. If you're like, oh, I made a mod based on this game, well, so what? Or I made this whole mod myself. Oh, great. When, like I said, most of the time it's illegal. And look at read the end user license agreement, the ELUA, for UDK, and it says it right there. I forget what number. You can't use any existing intellectual property. It's illegal. So any of you guys using UDK to make whatever you're doing based on anything that you didn't make up yourself, you're doing it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a matter of your opinion. It's not a matter of this guy he's making me angry. It's not a matter of opinion. It's the law. It's a legal thing that it may not happen. You may be able to slip by the system. It could happen. But at some point you're gonna receive a cease and desist letter. Somebody's gonna come up and tell you, look,
Yeah.
stop or this. It blows my mind how many people still do this. And there was originally a term back in the old modding days. We called it a mod would get foxed.
Foxed.
Yeah, because Fox.
Thieves. Yeah.
No. Fox, the company, the
Oh, okay.
the
I thought you were
movie,
talking
the movie
about, like,
making, all those
in
shows
general,
and movies.
In general, the Fox characters.
There was
usually
a
the thief.
mod being done for Quake 1 called Alien Quake, and Fox owns the intellectual property of Aliens.
Okay.
And they were like, "What are you doing? This is our stuff. You can't just make our stuff." And because it was a good quality mod, it was to the potential that it was popular enough. Like that's really what the reason most of these mods or whatever or games that are made based on some IP aren't getting shut down is because they're crap. They're just garbage.
Yeah.
This is
not even worth sending them.
Yeah,
cease and desist.
it doesn't even come up on the radar. It's so terrible.
Yeah.
But this was actually a good mod. It was good quality, looked cool, and everything. And so they were like, "Look, get out of here." And this happens to all of them. You can actually look up projects. There's actually a few examples, even on like the sites like ModDB and IndieDB. Both those sites have endless examples of thievery of intellectual property.
Mm-hmm.
But they also have a lot of examples of those where the latest news update on them is, "We received our C&D. Sorry, folks, project done." There's a lot. They're there. It's real, and it doesn't matter what your opinion, what you think about it,
Yeah.
how you feel as a fan, how you love this project, and they should be able to do it, or it's okay. Nope, they're gonna come get you eventually.
It can be up to a fine of $250,000 or 5 years in prison.
Is it really, or are you just making
No,
it up?
I was just thinking of the FBI warning that comes at the front of DVDs.
Oh yeah, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Here's a good tip: just to write everything down. Yeah, I wrote that down.
Oh my gosh, I can't even count how many.
I wish I had a
idea
notepad and a
books I
pencil
have.
with me all the time.
I know.
And I've got like notepad docs, like saved chat logs, all
Mhm.
kinds of things just saved. And like this podcast, for example, perfect example.
Yeah, it's great. We can always go back and actually watch and listen to what we have said before. So
Yeah. One thing that it still bothers me today, especially, again, that one of the things nice about that UDK form is you can have a suffix to the title of your thread. So you can have things like tutorial or
okay,
paid or unpaid. You know.
another form of organization.
Yeah, stuff like
That's
that, which
pretty
is
cool.
really nice. But almost every one of these mods on the list says royalty. And usually when I see the word royalty at the start of those, I go, well, this is never coming out. These guys, these goofballs.
Yeah.
Because they don't... I've been around a very long time, and I have not received a royalty check. And there's been plenty of times where I've been not received the money I've contractually supposed to be given. I've known guys that have gotten royalty checks, and I've heard some awesome stories. Like I said, the one earlier about the TF2 hats. And
Yeah.
I knew a guy that worked on the PC port of Halo 1, and even after he left that company and was somewhere else, he was still getting royalty checks from this. Yeah, like I said, it can be great.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a dream, but most of the time, it's just a pipe dream.
Yep.
When somebody is saying, here's our game, here's our thing that has nothing yet, and we need people in royalty. When they're offering royalties, I'm just like, F off. Get out of here. Just don't even talk about money.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not the real deal, if you don't have money in your hands that you're about to give somebody to do work for you, then get out of here. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to the people out there. If you're telling people about money that doesn't exist, then just get out of here. Because royalty isn't up to you. You don't have
Control over how much
control
money.
over it. You don't have the convenience. You don't have the convenience to tell people you're going to give them royalties.
Yeah.
You know who gets royalties? People that make amazing games that sell outstanding amounts of copies beyond the fact that this is enough money that the company needs to retain to keep paying everybody. The publishers need to take out because they're greedy. This is once the money has gotten so good that there's an excess, and here's your little check.
Yep.
How dare you say? How dare somebody come out and say? Really? I mean, think about that.
No, it makes sense.
How dare somebody
that
is just sitting in their house making some mod offer royalties to someone?
Yeah.
If you've got money in your hand to give somebody, then by all means tell them. But that is just ridiculous.
Yep.
Ridiculous. I wish that little royalties tag was gone. I wish they would just get rid of it, because all it is just a line of failure. When you look at that, it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had to get passionate about that because it is, ridiculous. Ridiculous. That's why I just say, just don't talk about money. If you don't have money, if I don't have money to give you right now, then how dare anybody talk about money? Ridiculous. 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 Anyway.
Is that pretty much do you have any other tips?
Well, there's more, but a lot of it I feel like it was talked about kind of thoroughly.
Yeah, because I actually liked those last two. I didn't even think about the royalty thing because I don't go to the forums too much.
Well, yeah, you don't think about
but it is
in the industry itself.
Yeah.
If you can get a contract that says you can get royalties, then that's very, very good for you. Because if the product you make does sell a lot,
then you're set.
Yeah. Look, you don't necessarily have to be a part of the best game ever. There's those things like Farmville, like Zynga, is that how you say that company? They make so much money.
Yeah.
It's like all those TF2 hats. They make so much money.
Yeah, I know.
Like the game Deer Hunter.
Deer Hunter, it's everywhere.
It's like
in every bar.
That's not like the super greatest game in the world, but good lord if you had some royalty check on that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Just imagine. Wow, But yeah, no, it's important to be passionate, and it's important to be true about stuff like that too.
Do you think vegetarians play Deer Hunter?
It's just a video. It's simulation.
Yeah.
Look, I don't go out and kill people every day, Brian. But GTA is fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe they do. It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. But yeah, I think we could wrap it up there. That's a pretty good one.
Okay, cool.
Got time in there, and this is one of those things where we could talk for quite a bit. I feel like I could talk for another hour or two, easy.
Oh yeah.
But
sounds good.
Got to keep these things in tight. So yeah, if you're not already subscribed on YouTube, liked us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, on the G Plus now.
Yeah.
Check that out.
Dude, I don't even use Twitter anymore because the only people that laugh at my jokes are you. So it's like
I'm the only person that follows you.
Yeah, no, I only have 3 followers.
Yeah, I logged into Facebook the other day and I was like, what is all this stuff? It was all like Facebook before G Plus. The people I kind of had on Facebook, on whatever that thing is that appears in the middle where everybody posts, were usually like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Like I have a lot of artists, other industry people.
Yeah.
So they post interesting links or art they're working on. But now all that's been happening on the G Plus, which I got to figure out my streams on that because I got some goobers on my G Plus stream that sometimes they'll post art or whatever, but most of the time it's just like garbage, my opinion, stuff I'm thinking about.
Well, that's the whole reason I didn't like Facebook for a long time.
Oh, and here's the worst: repost.
Yeah.
Like,
does Google Plus have like something special for reposting?
They don't. It's like it just keeps going right now. Like I said, it's very early still.
Yeah.
But it's how many times are you guys gonna repost Carmack's keynote speech from QuakeCon? Just stop it. Everybody posted it the day it happened. But that's how it is with everything.
Yeah.
Something really, really top level stuff. It's repost city. Here's what I want people on my G Plus to do: post original content. And I'm working on what I did is I set up a new circle just called artists.
Yeah.
But I only have one person in there because he's the only guy that reliably posts his own stuff.
Oh, nice. Yeah, of course.
And I'm
you
waiting for somebody to step up.
Yeah.
Like, there's a few people that I apologize if I'm missing you on this because of other
Goobers.
goofballs
Yeah.
reposting and posting dumb stuff that your good posts are getting lost in the stream.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure it out. I gotta work something out because I don't want to just get all these people out of my circles, but I might have to do that. 'Cause that's when I got on Twitter, I had to do that early on because
Yeah.
I immediately was like, oh, this guy's my buddy. I'm just gonna follow all these people. But then it turned out that a lot of folks were just this isn't anything.
Yeah.
Like I make an effort that all my tweets or anything I post on Facebook, I try. I mess up sometimes, but usually I try to do, okay, here's something I'm working on, or here's some new content.
Well, I always aimed to either get a laugh out of it or an awe out of it. If I can get a laugh or an awe, I'm comfortable.
Laugh or an awe.
Like an awe.
I just want to get some
surprised.
emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A tear, just one
just
tear.
I just want you to think about me. I just want you to think about me when you touch yourself.
But yeah, everyone has their own beef with all sorts of social.
Yeah,
networks.
you look at some other people are looking for different things. This is just what I'm looking for. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
We're all one big network, and we gotta get in what we want and
Yeah.
eject what we don't want.
We're all one.
Associations.
World peace.
World peace. Go smell a flower.
I only have one circle, and it's a peace sign.
Nice. Nice. So we're gonna end on that.
Yeah.
You did a good job with that one, Brian. I'm proud of you. Thank you.
Thank you.